Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on our talk on what is best nutrition during your chemotherapy. My name is Brenda Gridley. I'm a dietitian with Ironwood. So what should you eat during chemotherapy? This is a very big question we get a lot. Because chemotherapy can trigger a lot of side effects, including taste changes, dry mouth, fatigue, diarrhea, or constipation, in addition to mouth sores and nausea, it can make eating very difficult. And sometimes you just don't want to eat because you're nauseous. Just food doesn't sound appealing. So knowing what types of foods are best tolerated can help keep up your nutrition during your treatment. There's mealtime tips to improve intakes. You should always try to eat smaller, more frequent meals. If you feel full after eating just a small amount, just try eating every 1 to 2 hours throughout the day rather than scheduling 3 big meal times. Sometimes you might not feel hungry, and remembering to eat a meal is going to be hard. Some tips you could do on that is just, either set like a little calendar schedule on your refrigerator at certain times, or even set a phone alarm to remind you, oh, it's, 12 o'clock, I need to eat my lunch. Take advantage of the times when you do have a good appetite, when you are hungry. Sometimes this may be breakfast because you haven't eaten during your fasting, during your sleep period. Also, sometimes filling up on fluids during meals can hinder, your full intake potential. Try to limit drinking just maybe 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after your meals. Also, set the mood. Everyone likes, a nice dinner or a nice meal with family and friends. If you're alone, maybe just playing some of your favorite music, lighting a candle can help stimulate your appetite. Also, try to make your plate look appealing. If it's very colorful and there's different textures on there, your favorite foods, maybe putting a little bit of garnish on there can also help. Because, nausea is sometimes induced by certain odors, be really cautious about cooking foods or being around foods, or, even, smells from pets or certain, even laundry detergents can bring on that nausea and not make you want to eat. Sometimes colder foods or room temperature foods are tolerated best. This is, especially foods that are warm tend to give off odor, and, eliminating the smells can help improve your appetite. Some examples would be, cold sandwiches, some pasta salads, tuna chicken salad. These are all good. They're high calorie and also high protein. Sometimes, your foods that you just loved before, you just don't like anymore, and other foods you may find appealing. So experimenting with different foods, trying new things, even though those weren't really in your normal food circle. Exercise can help improve appetite and also reduce stress and treatment fatigue. Always make sure to ask your doctor if, exercise is okay and appropriate for you during your specific treatment. There's lots of nutrition shakes or instant drink mixes or powders, protein powders out there, available in all those nutrition stores, Sprouts. These can be, really convenient because they don't require preparation. And just sometimes it's easier to drink something versus eating something. It just takes kind of the stress out of preparing a meal and trying to consume it all. A lot of people, especially now with the hot weather coming up, smoothies are great. You can get all your fruits and vegetables in. You can add good calories and protein by using ice cream or full fat dairy products. You know, this is a great way to get a lot of your nutrients in, but also it's customized to what your palate is wanting at the time versus ones that are already pre-made. So, you know, you have your smaller, more frequent meals, which are really just, you know, like snacking throughout the day. You have a lot of appointments coming up during treatment. So just carry something in your bag with you. You know, you can eat them at the doctor's appointment or eat them during your treatment. Some good sources that are high protein are your hummus, edamame, cottage cheese, nuts are great. You know, a lot of these are going to be higher in calories, specifically like from fat or, you know, the cholesterol content. This is just to make sure that you're getting all your, you know, your nutrients in, getting your calories in. When you're finished with treatment, then we can focus more on lower calorie options. Bedtime is a great time to have a snack because, you know, you've had your dinner maybe a couple hours before, you have your bedtime snack, and that can help give you some more protein, some more calories, like choosing maybe a protein bar or, you know, peanut butter and crackers. This is good because you're going to be sleeping overnight and it's not really going to, you know, hinder your appetite in the morning. So along with all the treatment side effects, you know, the poor appetite and then the nausea, it's really hard to get your calories in. But during this time, your treatment and your recovery, your calorie and protein needs are actually greater. So ways, some helpful hints to get more calories into your food is to add more fat from butter or oils. You know, don't be hesitant about putting generous amounts on, you know, your toast in the morning or potato or oatmeal, vegetables. Also, you know, trying to do cream soups versus broth-based soups can help improve calories as well. Be liberal with peanut butter or other nut butters. They're a great source of protein and healthy fats. And peanut butter can pretty much go on everything: toast, bread, apples, banana slices, celery. You can use it as a dip for some of your chips or pretzels. Try using croissants or biscuits instead of regular bread to make sandwiches. You can add powdered creamer or dry milk to any hot cocoa or coffees, even your hot cereals in the morning, to just give it some more protein. And another food item to use liberally is just your avocado. You can use avocado slices on your eggs in the morning, on a sandwich, adding guacamole as well. So oatmeal, you know, is a lot of people enjoy their oatmeal in the morning, and you can spruce this up with brown sugar, honey, dried fruits, adding some butter or heavy cream. Also seeds, sunflower, chia, flax. These can be added to any of your main dishes, including salads. Put them in your stir fry. You can even put them in your smoothies that you are making from scratch. When you think desserts, try to go, you know, full out. Put some heavy whipping cream on any kind of fruit, or just whipped cream on any pies or jello that you might be using. It's important to try to drink beverages when you are drinking them that have calories. You can get nutrients from, you know, fruit juice. Also, any other of those electrolyte replacement drinks like Body Armor or Gatorade, milkshakes, eggnog. These all are helpful ways to stay hydrated and also, pack on some of those calories and protein if you're losing weight. I know a lot of these suggestions are higher in fat and sugar, but this, shouldn't be a concern during treatment. You're only adding the extra calories you need and what is tolerated until your appetite gets back on track. So protein is important for so many things: growth, health, repair of your body, immunity. During treatment, your protein needs are increased. So good sources, are like double up on, if you are tolerating it, on your meat, your poultry, your fish, your plant-based sources, beans, casseroles. You can even make a higher protein milk by adding powdered milk to whole milk, and then using this as a base in your, smoothies or any malts that you're making. And then, of course, there are those commercially prepared protein supplements, Ensure or Boost. They have a wide variety. They have regular, and then they have, the plus versions, which are higher calories and protein. Sometimes, meat is just not appealing during treatment, and you're just not liking chicken or fish or meat, which we normally were eating. There's wonderful plant-based sources: the legumes, quinoa, tofu, nuts, hemp seeds. Those are all alternatives to those animal proteins. So I know everyone's always telling you, hydrate, 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 drink your water. You don't want to, end up having to come in for hydration. So good, goal to go for is 2 liters of fluid a day. Not only does this keep you hydrated, but it helps your body to eliminate the byproducts of your chemotherapy. So, water is always best, but other sources out there are, apple, grape juice, even popsicles. Popsicles are just mainly, water with a little flavoring, so that can keep you hydrated as well. Fruit nectars are great. They're high in calorie. Broth soup, even bone broth. Coconut water is excellent for electrolyte replacements as well. So it's treatment day, and you might be nervous or you might not be feeling like eating, but you should just try to force yourself to eat something light, smaller portions, especially before your treatment is scheduled. Avoid foods that can make you nauseous, such as greasy, fatty foods. Bland foods are better tolerated, little portions. Some examples that you could try are plain or the fruited yogurt. If you do the Greek yogurt option, you're getting more protein there. Fruit and cottage cheese, poached egg with toast, bagel with peanut butter or cream cheese, cereal with milk. You can, if you're developing lactose intolerant, there's, almond, coconut, oat out there as an alternative. And then lastly, chicken and rice soup with saltine crackers. When you go to treatment, try to always, bring a snack with you. You can prepare something the night before. That way, you're sitting there for a couple hours, so take advantage of that time to nourish yourself. If you don't want just plain water and you want something, with a little bit of a flavor to it, you can bring your beverage of choice. I wouldn't do anything too acidic if you're having any digestive problems. During treatment, we do have snacks available, so you can always request an Ensure or a Boost, and we have little granola bars and crackers there as well. Try to sip on fluids every half hour. If you are nauseous, don't overdo it with big gulps, because that could, make your nausea worse. So the day after chemo, just everyone's different on what side effects they get and how soon they onset. But it's pretty much the same as, treatment day. You want to eat lower fat, blander foods, 5 to 6 small meals throughout the day. Focus on those colder foods or room temperature foods to eliminate any nausea that could be induced by the odors of the food. Drink fluids frequently to flush out the toxins. And, we have our list of some examples of good ways to replenish your electrolytes and stay hydrated. And, really important is to take your nausea medication as prescribed. If it's not taken on time, or if it's not taken, a little bit before you eat, you're not giving yourself the chance for your full intake potential, because you are still experiencing your nausea. So there are some specific foods that just patients have told me that they tolerated well, and there's been some research on tolerance. So number one is your oatmeal. So oatmeal is really great. It has, kind of a neutral flavor that you can enhance with, nuts or adding a little brown sugar. It's also really good because its texture is good for dry mouth, nausea, or mouth sores. It's not going to cause any irritation. There's fiber, the beta glucan is a type of soluble fiber that helps feed the beneficial bacteria in your gut, which helps promote regular stooling. So you might be having either constipation or diarrhea. This type of soluble fiber helps to promote formed stools and regularity. So a great little trick is going for those overnight oats. They're cold, and you can take them room temperature, and all you'd have to do is just soak your oats in either milk or yogurt. It could be a fruited yogurt. And then in the morning, you could add your toppings and then take it to treatment with you. Really common toppings are like berries, honey, nuts, maple syrup. But you can also, have a hard-boiled egg with it, or if you want to make it more savory, add a little bit of salt and avocado. So going on to avocados, they're great monounsaturated fat, very high in calorie and protein. They're great if you're experiencing dry mouth or constipation, mouth sores, or weight loss. It can really pack on the calories with, just a half an avocado. You can use them pretty versatilely make avocado toast, add them to your eggs, casseroles. Just very important that you need to wash the outside very well, because the skin can harbor a type of bacteria that can cause foodborne illness. It's called listeria. And because your immune system is already compromised, you really need to be careful about safe food handling. So besides their great calorie content and the fiber, their fat profile is also beneficial for cholesterol levels. So it can help lower your bad cholesterol, your LDL, and help raise your good, your HDL. I like to call it your healthy cholesterol. So fiber, about just 3.5 ounces can give you 27% of your fiber intake for the day. So this, like I said before, this fiber helps bulk up your stool, and it also feeds that healthy gut bacteria. Eggs are packed with protein. You could eat eggs for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They have a good source of protein and fat. And this is important because it helps, like I said, with immunity, to help build muscle mass. Sometimes, during treatment, your muscles start having atrophy or breakdown, which is something we want to try to avoid. You can hard boil them, scramble them, just be careful of the preparation methods that would make the yolks or the whites runny, because that can lead to a foodborne illness as well. They're also great because of their soft texture. They're very easy on the oral cavity. Even mixing them with mayonnaise can just make them more moist and add more calories as well. So I know a lot of people like to make their own bone broth now, and there's very different, variety of brands out there. Broth, even though it is like a soup, it is a great way to keep you hydrated. You can make your own at home, or you can purchase in the store. You can simmer your vegetables, your herbs, even, throw meat in there and the bones. What happens with this, when the bones are in there, is the electrolytes are released. And so these are your calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, that are sometimes lost if you're experiencing vomiting and diarrhea. If you have the appetite for it and aren't having any texture aversions, you can add those proteins in, like chicken, tofu, and vegetables. If you don't like the texture, you can just puree them up, and it would just make more of like a cloudier broth. Another way, if you don't like the meat options, is to add maybe an unflavored protein powder, like collagen powder. So all in all, broth is great for, a different sort of taste versus your electrolyte replacement drinks. And, you can kind of spruce it up to how you're tolerating, what you're, craving, if you are wanting to add those vegetables and protein to it. So, sometimes just munching on saltine crackers or just plain bread is good for diarrhea or nausea. They're pretty easy to digest, and the sodium content in them is very important, that you need to replace it if you're having diarrhea or vomiting. You can dip your cracker in something if you're feeling up to it. Avocado, cottage cheese, peanut butter are great sources. So, even though the whole grain version of these are healthier and they're ideal if your stomach is not upset, it's the high fiber of these whole grain versions that can kind of irritate your GI system. Cruciferous vegetables, they're great. They contain, broccoli specifically, contains a plant compound that can help protect brain health. Also, it reduces, inflammation, and it protects cells, which is very important during your chemotherapy. Broccoli contains a lot of vitamin C, which is important to maintain, a good immune system. You can increase calories on these vegetables, by adding olive oil or butter, a little bit of salt. Sometimes lemon can help bring up the flavor, as long as you're not having any mouth sores that the lemon might irritate. So nuts are, that great snack just to carry with you. You can make your own trail mixes at home, add raisins or other dried fruits, even add some more seeds. They have lots of protein, good healthy fats, and then they're packed with vitamins and minerals. Almonds are great. They are, powerful antioxidant content. And then you can even like get them sliced or slithered and add them to your oatmeal, salads, or other dishes. Just caution, because of their, hard texture, they might, be something you would want to avoid if you're having any mouth pain, just because of the chewing process and swallowing process might irritate you. So the smoothies are great. You can make these very high calorie. And also, if you're just going more for a liquid diet, that's what you're tolerating better. You can customize them, throw whatever you want in there. You could put your, strawberries, bananas, toss a little bit of kale or spinach, some flaxseed, peanut butter. This all is going to add to the nutrients. With anything, with the fruits, especially the berries, you really want to make sure that they're washed well. Look at them. If there's any signs of mold on them, then discard them. So fish is really high in protein and omega-3 fatty acids. They're also a good source of vitamin D, which is important for bone health and immune health. They have anti-inflammatory properties, and they help support adequate brain function. Goal should be to eat about 2 servings per week. And, a tuna salad mixed with lots of mayonnaise could be a good meal to have, that's colder, on the colder side, and sometimes tolerated better. So there are, a handful of foods that you really should avoid during chemotherapy. These are mainly the foods that could induce a foodborne illness. So don't consume anything unpasteurized, such as dairy or undercooked eggs. You have to avoid sushi or any other raw forms of seafood, or meat for that matter. Wash your fruits and vegetables very thoroughly. Even if it's already packaged and says it has been washed, I would wash it again just to make sure. Raw honey can carry the botulism toxin, which can make you extremely ill. So do not consume any raw honey or of the associated products that raw honey might be added into. Avoid your moldy cheeses, like brie and blue cheese. So it's the molds on these cheeses that give them their distinct flavor, but it is a fungus. And this is something you'd want to avoid because you already have a compromised immune system. Be careful of any dents in canned foods you may consume. This can also be a breeding ground for more foodborne illnesses in that area where the can was dented. There are some hidden ingredients where these are added. So hollandaise sauce and freshly prepared Caesar dressing, salad dressing, these have raw eggs in them. So make sure if you're going to do Caesar dressing, the bottled is okay. Any homemade mayonnaise can have raw eggs in it as well. So it's best to purchase those already packaged up. When you are preparing your foods at home, it's really important that you practice safe food handling. So you want to make sure foods are kept out of the danger zone and not left out too long on your counter, because these can breed bacteria. Try to, after your meal or your snack, package up the food in a seal-tight lid and then refrigerate it within 2 hours, if not less. Make sure that whatever meat or poultry you eat is cooked thoroughly. A lot of people just say, oh, if it's red inside, that's the way I like it. This is not a time to do that. It's best to get your meat thermometer and find out exactly what the internal temperature is. So some guidelines are your cold foods must be kept at or less than 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and hot foods must be kept hotter than 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Another word out there is cross-contamination. So this means, if you were to cut meat on a cutting board and then take your vegetables and dice up your vegetables on that same cutting board using the same knife, now your vegetables are contaminated with whatever is in that raw meat. So it's okay, to use lots of spoons, different cutting boards, to prepare your fresh fruits and vegetables versus your meats. Also, try to not use any kind of cutting surfaces or boards that are made of wood or any other permeable surfaces, because this actually can just trap that bacteria in there, and you just can't get it out no matter how well you wash it. So some temperatures to remember: these are your food danger, or the danger zone is what we like to call it. Poultry should be 165 degrees. Any of your red meats, 145 degrees in the thickest part for all of these protein sources. Ground meat and eggs are 160. Any reheated leftovers, 165. And then if you're holding food, on the stove, or if you're having, a party, you need to hold it at 140 degrees. A special note is for that meat thermometer, be sure that it's not placed in a shallow portion of the meat. It needs to be in the thickest part and not touching any bone surfaces, because this could cause a false reading. So a nice little word to remember is be picky. Be picky about the type of food and how you prepare it during your treatment, so you don't end up having one of these foodborne illnesses. Pasteurized. Everything needs to be pasteurized. Inspect. Really take a good look at your foods before you start eating them. Check for molds or cuts, breaks, the dents in the cans. Clean your food. Clean your cutting board and all surfaces, utensils used for chopping and preparing. And make sure that you're washing your hands thoroughly before and after. Cook any meat to those danger zone temperatures specific for that type of protein. And don't, keep leftovers in the fridge. I say, 2 days for me, it's thrown out. So thank you for joining me. And these videos can be found on the Ironwood Cancer Research Center video log. And for any consults for dietitians, can be sent to either me, Brenda Gridley, for the East Valley, or Rebecca Motek for the West Valley. Thank you.